Hi, everyone. As you know, success in this industry is very simple. Not easy, but simple. And one of the keys to unlocking success is skills. So how do you learn? Do you go through years of frustration, or do you plug into people that have already been frustrated and figured it out? And tonight's guest, Charlie Emmenecker, is a 200K premier who's going to share with you some of his insights to building a business. Now, XANGO,
you are now muted.
Charlie started in his XANGO journey in July of 2003 part-time while he was still operating his golf school full-time. Now think about this. 30 years in business with all the traditional burden that comes along with traditional business. And like me, he often had employees who became his competitors. Duplication, but the wrong kind of duplication. And he became very, very interested in nutritional supplements after losing many family members to ill health and some golf clients as well about 15 years ago. And what's amazing is that Charlie was able to exceed his income in XANGO from his golf school profits in a very short period of time. And by the end of 2004, he was able to close his golf school, and guess what? Never looked back. So you have to say to yourself, how did Charlie become a 100K premier in 9 months and a 200K in 2 years? And of course, Charlie and his bride Nancy are charter members of the $1 Million Club. And Charlie, from his heart, teaches people how to have endless source of people to talk to, the second key to success in this industry. So without further ado, Charlie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sandy, Golly, thank you so much for inviting me on this call this evening to share some thoughts and some concepts that are timeless and tried and true. Yes, indeed. It took me a little bit of time to figure out this thing, network marketing. But once I realized I had been doing it for a long time, just not getting paid the right way for it. For example, when I was teaching golf, I would say to a student, perhaps maybe Sandy, I'd give you a lesson or two or three, and I'd say, Sandy, if you feel like you've learned something here, would you mind sharing the information or sharing my name and phone number with your friends? I was constantly asking for referrals. And it didn't take too many times for me to figure out how to connect the dots when I understood the power of network marketing and that nutritional supplements do extremely well in that business model. So when I'd cut my teeth in a couple of other companies in nutrition, really didn't learn a lot. I learned some of the wrong ways to do this business. But then when I got involved with XANGO and I did my research just like you did, I got a chance to hear the magic wand early on. It wasn't even called the magic wand in 2003. But I heard the story, and your name came up in the story when Sherman was talking with his wife that you and Sharon went to have coffee for an hour and ended up being a half a day or more. And she came home and said to Sherman, I'm going to do this business. I don't know whether you are or not, but I'm in it. And you were very influential, Sandy, in the way that you were able to explain very carefully to Sharon Davison. And what you did was you really asked one of the key skills. You asked Sharon permission to have a coffee, right? Sandy? Oh, I don't know where Sandy is.
Absolutely. I'm on mute so that you've got a clear line.
Well, we're good. Well, I've remembered the discussion as Sherman told it. And then, I got a chance to meet Bob Schmidt I met him at the first convention, but I didn't know who he was. I probably would have been a lot more nervous. I met him at the Hilton Hotel, and he introduced himself. I am Bob Schmidt. This is my wife. He was bald at the time, and he was with Barbara, and I had no idea he was truly the icon in this industry. And then we got a chance to meet again in a few months in Hawaii, and he kind of like took me under his wing as a friend. And we were in Hawaii, and he asked me, he says, "Hey, Charlie," says, "what do you use to present?" Oh, there's my wife. There's my wonderful bride, Nancy. I think that, where was that? Oh, that was celebrating a birthday at a watering hole near home. That's pretty, let's see, it was April 2009. So anyhow, Bob had said to me and showed me his presentation book. It was just a 3-ring binder. Now we're at Elevation Retreat in Hawaii in 2004, and he brought that with him. He didn't have any prospects per se, but he was always willing to teach, train, and educate. And he said, "Charlie, don't you have a presentation book?" I said, "Well, I've been thinking about it. I got a couple people in my office." I had an office at the time where actually had some extra space where people would want to learn and about how to do this business. And I said, "Well, I got some people working on putting this together, that together." He says, "I could not possibly ever be in this business and not have a presentation book or a validation book." And I went, "Really?" And I said, "With the money you've made?" He says, "I don't care." He says, I would feel kind of naked without it." And so that inspired me to go back home, scratch my head, and figure out, okay, I understand the power of that. I've been involved in a lot of different marketing pieces of my life with businesses and whatever, and people want to see evidence. In the golf business, if you're not teaching with a camera and a television so the student can see what they look like, you're not going to get them to believe that they got to make some changes. So I took a look at Dr. Templeman's newsletters, called him and said, "Would it be okay if I were to take your newsletters, reformat them, and put them into a 3-ring binder?" And a friend of mine, Ken Booster, in Indianapolis, was in my group, and he and I collaborated on this. And he found a graphic artist. We redid the pages and came up with the name, The Amazing Medical Breakthrough. And there was some science, some marketing science that went behind this, where we put a picture of the mangosteen on the front of the book. Now, the book just came with Dr. Templeman's newsletters, but the real horsepower in the book are the pictures. But before we go into that, what I wanted to talk about in the skill building here is if you're having trouble talking to people about XANGO, either the business or the products, you're having trouble setting the appointment on being able to sit down and speak with somebody, maybe you're not very convincing in the necessity of the sit down. Maybe you're trying to make an appointment with someone maybe you got a brochure. Maybe you're trying to send them a website. Maybe you're trying to send them something that is what I would call, you try to get a $1 million decision with a $1 presentation. I believe if you understand what you have your hands on, you truly have a multi-million-dollar business that needs to be treated like a multi-million-dollar business, needing to invest in some tools, invest in some business tools that really look professional. That was one of the things that was Sandy and Callie, a real important criteria was that it had to look really good, because I was seeing high-level income earners from regular businesses entering into the XANGO field. I saw doctors, nurses, medical practitioners, and I knew that I would like to have this presentation book in their offices. I knew that I wanted to have it in the briefcases of the successful people that I was meeting, and I wanted to be able to help my team build. So we started to see some pictures emerge in 2003, 2004, 2005 that we saved. And Sandy and Colleen, and you've got those, we all have those pictures. And so what I started to do was I ran these in sets. I got about 10 to 12 pictures in the sets that I run that I put in between the pages. The biological, biochemistry pages in this book, where Dr. Templeman highlights how mangosteen is a COX-2 inhibitor and how it takes care of bacterial infections and stomach disorders. And there's about 8 or 9 different topics that are in this book. And it's not what he wrote so much as the headlines of what he wrote, but the real wow factor here in this presentation is when you can flip to the pages with the pictures. So let's go to another slide where we got a picture here. And it's really interesting because I did it today. I did a presentation today with a very high-level businessman and with 2 of his associates. So let's see if we can pop one picture up here for people. Okay. This is, thank you very much. This is a picture of the page. It's called Musculoskeletal Complaints, and on the back side of that, if you flip the page over where Gene Erickson is at, it covers fibromyalgia, different myalgias. Nope, not that. You don't need, no, go back. Back to Gene. In other words, what I wanted to, you're good. So what I wanted to say, where it says on the left-hand side here, it says musculoskeletal complaints. On the next page behind Gene, it just covers some of the medical disorders that mangosteen addresses. However, what's interesting is you've got the picture of Gene, and folks, this is very simple. He was on multiple prescription medications for rheumatoid arthritis for years. And he was also finally put on methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy drug. And if you look at Gene on the left, he looks like he's a cancer chemotherapy patient, but he doesn't have cancer. He's taking chemo for another disorder. He was at a meeting up in Vancouver and was introduced to a doctor and nurse up there, husband and wife team, and he asked the question, do you think this could possibly help me? And they said, we can't guarantee it, but we think the chances are probably pretty strong that it will help you. He got a couple bottles, felt better, ran out of the juice for a few days, started taking it seriously 2 or 3 times a day. Within a few months, look at the guy on the right. It looks like his younger brother. It's not. So what happens, guys, when people look at that picture and they hear that short explanation of the story, you're going to hear a 3-letter word. Wow. Now, what I have found in years of using these pictures in this book, you're going to get a wow on this one, you're going to get a wow on another one, and once you have your second wow, you're just about done. The only thing you can do is talk too much and mess things up. You're going to get a third and a fourth wow because we got burned pictures. I'm not going to go through all the pictures in the book because we can help you with that later. But I want you to understand the concept and the power of being able to make an appointment with true conviction that you're going to give somebody some information that will absolutely change their lives. And I do this day in and day out, and the new people that join me here in Toledo, or I'll go travel to Charlotte, North Carolina, whatever, we never leave the house where I'm staying when we go to a coffee meeting without this presentation book, because it never fails. Unless the only way you get failure is if you don't have one or don't use it. So let's go to another picture here, just to kind of drive the point home. There's a picture of Art Ross up in Rochester, Minnesota. Art's been around the networking business for a long time, and Sandy and Kali, I know you know Art, and he, even though he was drinking XANGO juice for quite a while, he developed, or he had some precancerous lesions that started to get worse and worse. And we have a skincare product that I say is age reversing and therapeutic. He was scheduled to go to the Mayo Clinic to have all those things burnt off his face, but like any skincare appointment, it takes weeks to get in. So his wife Connie said, we're going to start using Glimpse 3 times a day. And in 5 weeks, the entire condition was resolved. And it's pretty painful when they start taking those lasers and or freezing your face and taking all those ugly nasty growths out. So there's a picture that always gets a wow. I moved through the book quite quickly. Let's go to another page. We got a gal that had some bacterial infection. Okay, on the other page prior to that, and this is a section where it talks about how mangosteen will fight multiple bacterial infections and even MRSA and vancomycin-resistant bacteria. And the results are in it. We've had hospitals in the Midwest, hospitals in Michigan that have used it with Dr. Tutla. It was actually published in the newspaper. Well, this girl didn't have MRSA, but she had these open wounds because she has high blood pressure and diabetes. And she was fighting with her insurance company for 3 years and trying to resolve it. The pictures weren't there because of the mangosteen juice. They were there because she was having an issue that couldn't resolve. She bumped into a friend at a high school reunion, a networking chance, just by however it happened. She started to dab the juice into a paste form on her wounds and drank the juice, and in 6 weeks, those are the pictures at the bottom, she had almost resolved in 6 weeks what 3 years in drugs could not do. Sandy and Collie, you know that they're going to get the 3-letter word, wow, when we see that. So the point that I wanted to make, folks, is that one of the oldest skills in network marketing is learning how to ask permission to sit down and present some information. This book gives you the opportunity to give it the personal touch. There are, and by the way, there's John Bash has a book that he's got all kinds of stories in the book. He's out in San Diego. There's a animal testimonial book that's been put together, but nothing that has the scientific evidence that Dr. Fred Templeman has presented in the way that he did. And we put this book together. We made about maybe 1,500 of them. I think we only have about 300 or 400 left. And I knew I had a winner on my hands when Bob Schmidt called me up and he said, "Did you really put this together?" I sent one of these books to Bob back a few years ago, and I put a little note in there. I said, "Send me a check or send it back." And that was on the very first printing that we did. It was much more expensive than the second. It was like $54. And he said, he called me up and he said, "What's my price?" I said, "How many do you want?" He says, "Oh, well, I want 50. I said, "I can come up with a special price for you, Bob." Bob bought 50 on the first order, and it was mandatory that all of his team leaders have a book, and they bought more extra books. Over the course of time, Bob probably bought 200 of these presentation books, and he used them in his group. And Sandy, you can kind of, and Carly, you can kind of look down the mountain from where you're at, and you know that Bob grew one of the strongest groups in the entire XANGO nation, pretty much in the U.S. and Canada. And most of his leaders, if not all of them, had this type of presentation book. So, like Jim Rohn says, success leaves clues. And I think if you're going to want to do this business, this might be one of the things that you want to have in your briefcase. You may want to have a couple extras. I made the mistake of letting someone borrow one time and never got it back. I've got 3 or 4 of them that I have in my office. And I have many here. We probably have a few hundred left. They are, with pictures, $45. If somebody wants to order them, they can just get in touch with me, Sandy. My email address, chazemmy@accesstoledo.com. But it's one of the things that I feel is really important for us to do one-on-ones. Now, Sandy and Kylie, I'd like to cover another piece. I did 4 Faveo Limitless presentations today. I did one with Nancy and I here at the house, a friend of ours, a real estate agent that we chat from time to time. And then I had a meeting at Cinco de Mayo, a local restaurant here. And I had 3 fellas that were talking about XANGO and Faveo. And the main character, the main cog in this whole wheel is he's a very successful businessman with about 4 businesses, does a radio talk show about business, and he had phone calls coming in, so I had to really get him to focus in on the book and the pictures. So I just had him look at maybe 3 or 4 pictures. But the 4th picture, it was wow, wow, wow. And I showed him a picture of a girl with acne. He says, my daughter's got acne really bad. And he took a real genuine interest. But prior to the discussion of that, I asked everybody, would you like to sample a new product from XANGO? And it's proven to give you some extra energy, and some of us feel like a brain stimulation. And each one of them said, one guy's pretty young, the other guy said, I kind of get run down around maybe 1 or 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I said, would you like to give it a try? They all said yes. And it was really interesting, folks. Within about 10, 12 minutes, maybe 15, these 3 guys became very animated. It was pretty interesting. And I said, well, what do you guys think? Well, I feel it. And these are businessmen. They go, yeah, I could feel it. How do I get that stuff? Well, I said, well, Mike here, he's a rather new distributor. He's a XANGO partner. He's part of your radio program and part of your business development team. He's been drinking XANGO juice for 6 months. Mike, what do you think? And he went on to tell him what he's 65 years old, how it's really done amazing things for him already. So it was pretty interesting. We did a XANGO juice overview, didn't even have to sample it, but we sampled the Favale Limitless, and the one guy at my house said, yeah, I feel it, and the 3 guys that when we had some glasses of water and some nacho chips, they said, yeah, and they all want it. So it's pretty interesting when you actually get fairly good at doing these presentations out in public, and you just roll through it. You don't need to be nervous. You ask them permission, and sometimes you got to say, hey, look, I just wanted to ask your permission if we can meet. I'm looking for some people who have wellness in mind, or maybe you finally got sick and tired of watching all those TV commercials that show real happy people, but meanwhile they're showing real happy people. They're not taking the drugs, but they're telling you that that the adverse side effects could literally kill your liver or kill you. And each one of those guys we sat with said, yeah, I'm kind of sick and tired of seeing that stuff. And so the topic went to wellness and homeopathic, and it really stimulated some good conversation. I couldn't have done that with a brochure, Sandy and Collie. It just doesn't work that way. I don't have the word doctor in the front of my name, or MD or DO behind me. So I've got to bring all of that evidence to the table and present it in a way that people really understand it. So that's part of my topic here tonight was sitting down with people. And once you get the ball rolling and you've got 1 of you, 2 of you, 3 of you, 4 of you, 5 of you, you get people in other cities using some presentation materials, all of a sudden you're going to start to see your business grow by 2 a day, 3 a day, 5 a day, 8 a day. You get people on conference calls like this. And I will definitely be on a 3-way phone call or a validation phone call with each of those 4 people today. I will be on with somebody that is in my my follow-up box, as I call it, or my validation box, whether it's Ray Heron, depending upon if he's got time. And I try to keep those calls with Ray to 2 to 4 minutes. I've got several other people. Mary Hill Lane. Mary Hill's just a great person on a 3-way phone call. So I've got about 10 or 12 people that we share phone numbers with to help validate the information, because it's all part of the process of connecting people together in what I call connection marketing. So, Sandy or Collie, do you have anything you want to kind of throw on the table here with me?
You know what, Charlie, thank you very much. Probably a whole lot of things. I don't know if you're ready right now for the Q&A. I'll invite everybody to ask a question.
Sure.
In the upper left-hand corner of your screen is a box that's marked Q or Ask a Question. So just click on that and you can ask a question. I'm actually going to take a few minutes while people are doing that to bring up some websites and stuff to show them where to get the archives. But before I do that, let me turn some time over to
Hey,
Tony.
before you do that, Collie,
yep.
you there? Before you do that, there's a couple more slides I wanted to show. And I'm kind of proud of the first one. That's our XANGO house. But let's pop up another slide. I just wanted to make a couple more comments, if I could.
All right. Which one?
Whatever you got. You got...
I got this one that you sent me.
There. Okay, folks, I want you to take some notes here. Write this down. This is an absolute got-to-have. Jim Rohn in his CD, Building Your Network Marketing Business, the 14 irrefutable laws of how to do this business the right way. You can get that at jimrohn.com. You can probably get it at, maybe X1 Tools. It's available. They're like $2.90 a piece. I keep running out of them. When people listen to that, they get it, and I don't want them to give it back to me. That's my last one. As you can see, it's kind of worn, torn. Okay, let's go to another slide.
Charlie, that's about it that you sent me, other than the house.
Oh, I thought I had a picture of the book Drive. I may not have gotten that to you. Well, there's a book that I recommend people to understand by Daniel H. Pink, and the subtitle of the book is called A Whole New Mind, but the name of the book is Drive: The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us. And in today's world, like they say, someone moved my cheese. Well, the business model has changed dramatically. And it's pretty interesting because this is a great topic for even a whole call. But what he's determined is that what really drives people, what really motivates people today, is they're looking for autonomy and freedom. They want to be able to get better at what they're doing. He calls that mastery. It's kind of what we're doing here tonight. We're helping to mentor people. We have people on this call that they want to get better at what they're doing. So they're here, and we're here trying to help share what we've learned to help make our businesses better. We want to help you make your business better. And the third part that's really a biggie is people want to be involved in a business that has true purpose and true meaning. And when I read that part of the book and I read through it, I went, wow, this guy's talking about a business like XANGO, where we do get this our freedom and our autonomy, and we do have the opportunity to hone our skills. And do we have purpose and meaning? My goodness, we help change people's lives with their health, their taxes, their income. We have a business that has more charity attached to it than any company I think I've ever seen. So if you want to be involved in something that really fills that bill, we got it. And you might want to purchase the book Drive by Daniel Pink to kind of wrap your brain around today's business model. So there it is. I thought I said
Is she amazing or what?
You guys read my mind. Okay, there it is. Yeah, Drive by Daniel Pink. I would love to get him on one of these conference calls with you guys. It would help him promote his book besides me, and I think it's doable. I do think it's doable for like a 5 to 10 minute interview. Folks, if you want to get better, you gotta sharpen your skates and your skills and be able to converse about what's going on. And by being able to talk it through with your friends and people you meet, they're going to go, you know what, I think I might want to do this with Charlie or Sandy or Collie or Mark or whoever. So I think that's about the end of my little story here. And if people have some questions or want to fire some thoughts at me, I'd be very happy to discuss it.
Awesome, Charlie. But, I think your words of wisdom have to be reaffirmed, because it's all about who we become in the process of this journey. And that's the one thing Jim Rohn has always taught. What are you reading? Many years ago, I learned that there is no TV in TV. In other words, we don't get paid to watch television. And if people would only shut off the TV they probably find about 2 hours a day that they could invest in themselves for personal development, because the learning should never stop. And it's and Jim Rohn has been a mentor to most leaders. So if you don't have his library, not just one CD, his entire library, and you can go to jimrohn.com, and I think the whole library is only like $30 or $40.
It's so cheap.
Oh my God! But look what you get, and look what you become in the process. And with technology, you put it on your phone, and you can listen to it in the car. You can listen to it while you're walking. You can listen to it at the gym. You can listen to it while you're sleeping. And I used to do that in college. I used to put my books under my pillow because somebody said it would go through the pillow to my brain. So I don't know if that ever worked. But because we're talking in the 50s and the 60s when we didn't know any better.
Right.
Right. But right now I'm going to turn it back to Kali, because most people really don't understand how Eddie, Kali, and I are so committed to this skill piece of building. And that's why we provide these webinars, we archive them, but people can't seem to follow where to find them. So watch carefully on your screen now, because Kali's going to walk you through where we archive all the webinars, both for skill building, which is the 500K plan, as well as the training portion. So I'm going to turn it over to Kali now, and I think it's going to be showing on your screen in just a moment. She's doing all her magic here, and with top technology, it's just amazing what we're able to show. Okay, Kali, over to you.
And what you're learning.
Great. We got some people asking questions. So once again, the upper left-hand corner of your screen is an Ask a Question box. Ask your questions there. The chat box is for everybody to chat amongst themselves, but the question box is where I will be reading the questions for Charlie. What I have on the screen right now is the 500K Plan blog. It's 500kplanblog.com, and here you'll find information on just about everything that we recommend. There's lots of great stuff out there, obviously, including Charlie. I put us down for, let me have at least 10 more of your books. I've got some, but I definitely want some more for sure before you run out. So put me down for some of those. Here we have on the blog, we've got the third column here. It says weekly webinars. If you just click on the weekly webinars, there's a drop down that will show you the archives for both 500K Plan and Life as It Could Be. The difference being this is a 500K Plan webinar. It's about skill building. It's training. We have training for distributors on product or business. And those have been archived since, we've got about 6 months, I guess, archived back there on the 500K Plan. The Life as It Could Be webinar archives, they're opportunity presentations. They're 30 minutes. And tonight we had another awesome one by XANGO's brand manager who did a Faveo presentation, and we usually rotate between opportunity and product each week. And there's some wonderful archives back there, great 30-minute webinars that you could actually send to a prospect at any time. So if you just click on weekly webinars, we explain the difference between our webinars. We have the basically calendar for the next month's worth of webinars, and where you can go and you can register for them. So at any point in time, you can get all the information there. And then again, if you go to the drop down, you're going to see 500K Plan Archive. This is where you'll see the last week we had Bill Slaney, the week before Mary Spolstra, and then by tomorrow you'll see the link for tonight's webinar for Charlie listed here. If you've got team members that were not able to make it and you want to send them the link to this webinar. So you can always find that there. The other thing is, if you notice on the right-hand side of the blog, we've got all of our Facebook pages that we've got here, and there's the 500K Plan Facebook page, Video Max Pro, Life as It Could Be, My Faveo. We've got the corporate pages for XANGO and for the Faveo, but I'm just going to take a quick moment just to show you what those look like. If you go to facebook.com/Video Max Pro, you'll get the Video Max Pro page. If you like the page, you will be plugged in to everything that's involved with Video Max Pro. Anytime there's anything new to talk about, or a lot of times we post, by the way, amazing videos that you can watch for free. And you can, by the way, sign up for a full 30-day test drive for just $1. All you have to do is click or enter test drive under the promotion code. But if you look down on this page, you'll see some great presentations that we've put there, including, and I'm going to show you what one of my very favorite ones is a presentation by Dave Blanchard. And by the way, there's some great video testimonials on Fabeo. So here's some of them that are all listed right here. So anyway, lots of great stuff here. This is the presentation right here. You want to click on it. It's an hour-and-a-half long message that Dave Blanchard delivered to the Association Network Marketing Professionals annual convention, talking to leaders of the network marketing community, not XANGO leaders, not XYZ company leaders, but leaders in the network marketing industry. You want to hear this message. When you got about 90 minutes, click there, watch that for free. It's fantastic. Some of the other pages, again, facebook.com/500K plan, and that'll be put you into all the 500K plan communication when we post webinars, such as the webinar that you're on right now. We post it not only on our blog, but we also post it in the 500K plan community on Facebook. So there we've got the post there for Charlie's webinar that we have tonight, and as soon as we post next week's, you'll see it there. Like the page, and you're automatically plugged into everything. Life as it could be, same thing. It's facebook.com/life as it could be for you. That's the number 4, the letter U. And that will plug you into the Facebook community of Life as it could be. And again, if you like that, then you're plugged in, and every time we post a webinar or anything on the blog, it will be posted on the Facebook, and you'll be notified of it. So just make sure you're plugged into everything that's going on, and I think that's about all I wanted to show you on that. So let me go to the question box now. And again, any other questions for Charlie? Make sure it's not too late to type those questions in. All right, Charlie, the first question is Yin Lee is asking, how do we get that presentation book from you, Charlie? And you give me that information. I'm going to type it in the chat box, which I think everybody can see too. I'm going to type it in the chat box so that everybody will have it.
Okay, the best way is my email address. And the email is Chasemy, CHASEMMY, at accesstoledo.com, ACCESSTOLEDO.com. And this in the boxes say presentation book or AMB book, Amazing Medical Breakthrough. And I'll return the phone call, or Nancy will, and we can get you set up to purchase 1 or 2 or whatever you want. We've developed a couple of other tools, but
all right, great. I put that in the chat box, and I also, it should be showing on everybody's screen right now, your email address to make sure everybody got it.
Good.
All right,
thanks.
So Len and V are asking, could we get off the same question? All right. Gimli is asking again, I met with this ribbon guy working for a friend in a Chinese restaurant. He agreed to meet with me next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. What would you propose I bring with me, and what questions should I ask him?
Oh, a driven is okay. At an Oriental restaurant, is he an Oriental? That I guess the reason I'm asking is, and you, Connie, you and Sandy know this, there are certain nationalities that are really driven. Orientals, Russians. The Russians want facts and figures. If it's a driven Oriental, they want to know. They want some science, and then they want to know, how can I get this into my culture. And so, you know, and this is a little tough because I don't know more of the circumstances, but you want to be prepared for both the product information and the business information. You know, do you need a magic wand to take with you? Probably. You know, to find out maybe. And I don't know if you're going to give it out, but you also want to let this person know that it's a process. You have a $1 billion company, XANGO, with a $1 million opportunity, And I think that we're approaching almost 100 distributorships that have made $1 million or more, and I don't believe that's ever happened in the first 10 years with any network marketing company ever. We have a company that is ongoingly developing additional cutting-edge products, and we have something that's very rare in the industry. We have a company that has brands inside the brand, and that's an important business piece to understand. So, be prepared. If you get an appointment with this individual, you got to be prepared to present, and if you screw it up, you got to be able to learn how to ask forgiveness. As a matter of fact, guys, with tongue in cheek, if you got somebody that you're a little nervous that you're going to present to or talk to, you tell them right up front, I'm kind of nervous. I'm a little bit nervous about this. They'll grab your hand and say, that's okay. I'm not going to bite your head off. And it's really cool how you're able to diffuse your fears when you let someone know that you're a little concerned or nervous about doing something. They'll help you present it to you or to them. It's pretty interesting how that works. Next question.
You know what, Charlie, those are most of the questions were. Thank you. You're amazing. Information was incredible. How do I get the book? So we pretty much went through all of those. And I just want to echo what you said about the presentation book. When I started in network marketing 22 years ago, we didn't have all the amazing tools and stuff that we have today. So I created my own presentation book by my little company newsletters that got sent out. I'd 3-hole punch it, stick it in a notebook. If I got, I took pictures of myself or team members, had them write out their stories for testimonials. I just created, out of my own experiences and stuff, a book. But I always had something, a presentation book, because I noticed that people come to your house to test your water or to, show you a presentation about ordering your home groceries or whatever it is. They always have a book, and it's kind of funny because I love it when people come. I'll throw them off kilter, and I'll say, you know what? I do this too. I have my own book. Are you able to give me the presentation outside of your book? And then it's really fun sometimes, but absolutely. So thanks for offering that, making it available. And if there's no other questions, I'm going to turn kind of some closing comments over to Sandy Cohen.
First of all, Charlie, of course, echoing Carly, thank you for the time you've taken to share your wisdom with everyone, and hopefully everybody took good notes, but knowing that you can re-watch this at the 500kplanblog.com where we archive everything. And remember, the harder you work on yourself and your skills will be directly proportionate to your success. So if you've been in this industry for a while, you are a very different person than you were 2 months ago or 6 months ago or 6 years ago. But that process of growing should never stop. Now, I'm talking obviously to people who want to be successful, not people who just want to get their product for free. And obviously, if you're on this call, it's because you're serious about where you're going. And most people will move quickly to avoid pain. So if you're lying on a nail and you want your life different, when the pain is bad enough, you'll get off that nail and start doing something like your hair's on fire. So with that, we will see you next Tuesday. Make sure you take advantage of the pre-registration for the Vegas conference. Eddie, Conley, and I will be doing an event before the event on Friday. Before it starts, we're getting all those details finalized. Maybe it's, I think it might be Thursday. Okay, I think it's Thursday because the event is Friday and Saturday. So we're doing it the day before. So it's the event before the event, and we are going to focus on technology, how you're going to be able to put your business into hyper speed with all of the tools that are available, and most of them are free. Do you like the word free? My favorite word. So with that, we love you all. Charlie, you have any closing comments?
Actually, real quickly, I was very fortunate to meet a very famous American about 3 weeks ago, and Sandy, you know who that is. His name is Bob Wieland. And I will never, ever, ever, ever have a bad day the rest of my life. And folks, I want to tell you why. This guy's name is Inspiration Bob Wieland. And he lost both of his legs in Vietnam. And he lived. It was really touch and go. And he walked across America on his hands. Took him 3 years and 8 months. He walked across America on his hands through rainstorms, through sunshine, and he's going around America giving inspirational talks to people. When I heard him talk, I thought, I will never, ever have a bad day in my life in XANGO, no matter what. I have a hard time having one anyhow. So, folks, if you think you're having a hard time, you're not. And if you need help, we're here to help you. Sandy and Collie, I mean, I can't believe how hard you work at helping so many people. I feel honored to know you, both of you ladies, and the support system and Eddie Cohen. So I want to thank you for having me this evening, and I'll make sure my team gets a chance to hear this. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charlie, and thank you, everybody. Good night, everyone.
Good night.